It is lights out and away we go once again. Hello, racers. Welcome to episode 14 of the Harder Soft F1 podcast. I am your host, Adrian Huff, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, RJ McCullough. How's it going, RJ?
It's going well. It's going well. A couple points to make. First, I like your background. It's a beautiful background. Second of all, what was the second thing I was going to say? I forgot the second thing. But the third thing is, despite Lewis's luck not quite turning around, I remember the second thing now. But anyways, despite Lewis's luck not turning around yet, I did get my first guy on my fantasy team winning. So you have to do a punishment this week. But first, I also have to mention that we apologize for the episode coming out late this week. We had some scheduling and technical difficulties, you can say. But we're not going to go a week without an episode. So we're coming to you a little late, but better late than never. So let's hear let's hear what you're going to do for your punishment, and I'll go over the updated Harder Soft League standings.
Okay, so Sergio, he won, and we read that his favorite drink is a pina colada. So I didn't want to go and buy a bottle of liquor, pina colada mix, all that shit. So I got, oh my God, it won't.
There we go.
Pineapple coconut.
It looks like a big can too. I don't know if it's just the camera or
it's a pint.
Like a king can.
So yes.
Okay. Well, okay. So what's you're gonna drink that or you're gonna chug it? I don't think you can chug that whole thing. That'd be death.
I don't think I can chug it either. I don't know. I can try.
No, just give me a nice big sip and give me your instant rating.
Oh, not good.
Not the best.
No, it's awful. Holy shit. It's fucking terrible.
I love pina coladas, but yeah, I've never had one in a can like that.
Oh, no, I like a good pina colada, but I think this is worthy of a punishment. This is terrible.
All right, well, vamos Checo. So this week in the Haas League in Monaco, you only got 39 points. Your top point getters were Max Verstappen 15, Charles Leclerc 12, and then Lando 9. I, on the other hand, got 63 points. Sainz 18, Perez 25, Sainz 18, Russell 10, Alonso 6, Hamilton 4. But anyways, I've trimmed your huge lead. It is now 389 for you to 361 for me. So you now lead by 28 points. So Jeez. I'm on your tail. I'm catching up like Max caught up to Charles after the first few races. And look out, buddy, because you're coming to Toronto on this race.
Dude, yeah. It seems like you've managed to not have or let me completely take off because I feel like besides my top two picks, I don't have the best picks. So it's interesting. I can't believe it's already got so close. So I'm going to stop hoping for bad luck for Max and Charles already. So we need to kick it back up to gear.
Yes. Okay, so it's my turn to do the 1 minute race review. So we're just coming up on the minute mark of our recording. So Once that hits, I'm going to do it. So 5, 4, 3, 2. The lights are out and away they go. Slight delay off the start as we have a power outage, some rain, 45-minute delay. Sucks. They started the clock already on the race. That wasn't great. Anyways, the race finally starts. Charles Leclerc gets out to a big lead. Adrian's having trouble with his drink. Lap 17, though, things get a little crazy. Perez pits from third place, goes from wets to inters. And then lap 18, Ferrari copies Red Bull, brings Leclerc in to pit from first, wets to inters. Sainz declines to come in, even though Ferrari wanted him to. He stays out. Lap 22, Sainz comes in. Charles comes in behind him. Red Bull then copies. Ferrari does the same. Perez and Verstappen both pit. But coming out of the pits, we have Perez, Sainz, Verstappen, Leclerc. Charles is pissed. Lap 26, Mick crashes. Lap 33, restart. Lap 54, the countdown clock goes on at 12 minutes. The top four head to tail the rest of the way, but no real passes because it's Monaco. Perez, Sainz, Verstappen, that's your podium. And that's a wet and wild Monaco GP. Last one. We'll see.
Boom. There you go.
All right.
I like it. Holy shit. Yeah, you managed to abridge the chaos of the Monaco 2022 GP because Jesus Christ.
It was chaos. Yes. You want to go through the top 10 or the field or whatever?
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, it's already been a couple of days. We're not going to completely rehash the entire race. But gosh, it's just let me first before we quickly run through it. What were your initial thoughts on the delay and then the restart and then the red flag?
Well, truth be told, I had myself a bit of a late night on Saturday, so waking up, I was a little tired. But I got myself up, I had my coffee, I was ready to roll. Lights out, away we go is what I was hoping for. And then the rain, and I didn't know there was a power outage. They didn't do the best job of even the Crofty and Brundle were going in on F1 for. Good job muting on that cough, by the way. Yeah, they were going in on F1 for FAA for like what is going on? They start the damn race, but I guess there was a power outage. They couldn't do a start without the lights going on or whatever, even though they do. Anyways, whatever. But the problem for me was that they did the formation lap and they started the 3 hour clock. So like we got the race only went like what 64 out of 78 laps or so.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know if anything would have changed in the end, but it is a little frustrating. It was hard to just kind of like I was kind of nodding off a little bit because as I said I was already tired. But yeah, not the best, but all in all, Monaco, you never expect the best, and it was a pretty good Monaco all in all. But yeah, I don't know. Would have liked to have seen them start in the wet.
Right, and I know the power outage was an issue. But yeah, it's just kind of disappointing. I hope that doesn't. I mean, I understand that they would have had to stop, but it just felt like there was a lot of miscommunication from the back end at least. But whew, gosh, okay, yeah, I'll run through these standings. So, like we mentioned already, Sergio managed to pull it off. There's actually a really funny clip of him right before qualifying, I believe. The interviewer asked him, they're like, "What do you think your chances are of winning this?" He's like, it's the target, but we'll see. But God damn it, he did it. So it was amazing redemption after the team orders last week. We've already talked about that enough, but we had Sergio in first. Right behind him was Carlos with Ferrari. Then Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Lando Norris, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Sebastian Vettel was able to get a point. The rest of the grid was Pierre Gasly in 11th, Esteban Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo, Lance Stroll, Nicholas Latifi, Zhou Guanyu, Yuki Tsunoda, Alex Albon, Mick Schumacher, and Kevin Magnussen, which brings the overall results to in the constructors, Red Bull in the lead with 235. Right behind them, Ferrari 199. So 36-point lead. That's pretty significant. Behind Ferrari is Mercedes 134. Behind them, McLaren 59. Behind them, Alfa Romeo 41. Then Alpine 40, 1 point behind them. AlphaTauri 17. Haas 15. Aston Martin 7. Finally, the driver standings. Max remains in the lead. 125. Charles 116. Perez. Checo 110. Only 15 points behind his teammate. Will Red Bull let them race? Will we have a 2016 Mercedes situation? Probably not, but we'll see. Then you got Russell, Sainz, Hamilton, Norris, Bottas, and Ocon, and that is your top 10. Whew. lot of shit went down.
Yeah, it's almost good that we don't have to go through race details because there's just so much stuff to talk about that came out of the race. So I'm going to start just quickly with what the broadcast missed because there was a lot that actually did happen that we didn't see, even to the point where there was confusion with the Hamilton Ocon penalty. But if you see the replay that they didn't show, you can see why Hamilton was pissed. So first off, what they missed. So Lance Stroll, lap 19. Lance Stroll just sends it on Yuki Tsunoda down the inside of Rascasse, gets the job done, makes the move. Hamilton versus Ocon, part 2. We saw part 1, but part 2, Hamilton moved the inside of Ocon on the start-finish straight. As Ocon came across, Hamilton was squeezed toward the pit wall. He suffered front wing damage after making contact with Ocon's right rear. So I think they played that audio with a different visual. So anyways, next, Russell. I don't know if you've seen this move online, but George Russell made an incredible move on Lando Norris, lap 23, exiting Saint-Devote. Yeah, a great move on Lando. And he was even said after the race, he's like, I was disappointed because they told him He was like, "Oh, did you see that move I made?" And something like that. And they were like, "No, it wasn't on the broadcast." And he was disappointed because he was like, "Oh, it was such a good move."
Yeah.
So yeah, he said like, never. But anyways, yeah, it was a great move. Schumacher and Albon had a clash lap 17. Schumacher fierce fight with Albon. Had tried one failed move around the outside of Mirabeau, and then on lap 17, Albon went wide, allowed Schumacher to get a run at a casino. Albon defended, but anyways, yeah, those two had a bit of a clash. Latifi had a sneaky little move on Zhou Guanyu, and Zhou Guanyu had an incredible save. I think I've seen that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
so that's just a few examples of like they missed, and then off the start, Gasly was on like a heater. He was passing guys left and right, and they were barely showing any of that. So I know it's tough, but I mean the principality, as they're calling it, it's only like 3 miles or kilometers. Like it's a very small area, like and there's a million cameras, so it's not like they didn't have visuals of what was going on. The race directors in terms of the broadcast. I mean, we've talked about it already, so we don't need to go into too much. But disappointing that they miss all these great things and they seem focused on the wrong things or replays or whatever at the wrong time.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, like you mentioned, Gasly, that stuck out to me because I feel like that definitely plays into just self a lot better to overtaking. So it was, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the better overtaking happened during the wet. So it was disappointing. But yeah, Gasly, even though he wasn't able to get points, he did a lot of great moves. Seb had a couple of overtakes. I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but we didn't really get to see that on the broadcast either. So yeah, it's tough, but it is a small track. I can't imagine the logistics of running Liberty Media or the broadcast. So props to them for even doing it. But yeah, there's definitely some issues. They miss a lot for sure.
Yeah, they certainly do. And we mentioned it though on a positive note, the marshals at Monaco. Like marshals, shout out to any marshal at any race. I have a quick story about that in a minute, but yeah, the ones at Monaco, unbelievable. Like they're
Oh yeah.
they're all over it, like, and they have all the cranes and everything set up. But on the topic of marshals, I was watching a replay of because I'm getting ready for the Canadian Grand Prix, so I'm trying to go back and watch some old classic ones because it used to be like amazing every year. And 2011 is like one of the craziest ones. Like there was yellow flags, red flags. The race stopped for like an hour, restarted. It's the reason they put it in like the time limit because it was like a 4.5 hour race. But Jenson Button pitted 6 times, and won the race.
Holy
Twice,
shit.
twice he came back in last place, moved all the way up. He had an incident. He was on Hamilton's team at the time, and he crashed with Hamilton. Like had to go back into the pits. Then he crashed again. Had to go back into the pits. Changed his tires a bunch, but just unbelievable race. So I'd recommend going back watching that. They have like a 30-minute race things. But anyways, there was
Holy
one of the
shit.
times when they were there was a crash, like a minor crash. Guy hit the wall and like there was debris all over the track, and the marshals were coming out on the track to clear up the debris, and a couple of them, I don't know what was going on, but the cars were coming around as the marshals were running onto the track, and one of the guys fell, so this car's coming barreling down, and
Right.
they played a team radio. I don't know which car it was, but the guy on the radio was like, "There's marshals all over the track. I don't know what's going on. Watch out going around turn whatever, because it is absolute mayhem." But yeah, this marshal just you see him just try and run out on the track to grab debris, and he just eats it right as the cars
Oh,
are coming around, and he's
what
struggling to move out of the way.
what
Oof.
year was this?
2011 Canadian Grand Prix.
Oh, I was gonna
Give that one a
say,
watch.
holy shit. Didn't this may have been the wrong track, but didn't Marcus Ericsson have a bad wreck in Montreal?
I don't know if that was that year, but there's been it's notorious for having it's like the last turn, like Champions Wall or whatever. It's notorious for big crashes, and there was like a big Ferrari issue a few years ago. But anyways, we'll talk about the Canadian Grand Prix when that comes up. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was just my little thought on marshals. But yeah, because I guess we can speak of people kind of debacles with that Marshall. We'll move on to Ferrari and how they just absolutely fucked Charles. Like I've never seen Charles so pissed, and rightfully so. Honestly, his home race, like realistically, it won't be the last Monaco GP, but it's not on the calendar for next year, so potentially the last one. He's had horrible luck there, and then his team just absolutely fucks him out of a win, like literally.
Yeah.
So when you recover from that sip, Do
Yeah.
you think there's going to be like going forwards? Do you think Charles is going to be able to trust his team when they say like pit or don't pit, or like what do you think is going to happen going forwards?
Dude, I have no idea, because Ferrari have like fucked up strategies so much. It just seems like I don't know if they have bad luck or if they just like are not like the most coordinated, but it's like bad. It's so bad. So I imagine he's beyond frustrated, but I mean, at least he finished. You know? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
goddamn, he's
His first
first
finish.
time. Yeah, it was P4, wasn't even a podium, but
Mhm.
at the same time, you just gotta keep your head down and just keep going, because I mean, it's just I don't know. It's just a matter of his mentality. Hopefully, he'll be able to just bounce back and be like, all right, let's brush this off. Let's learn from this, because Carlos has had to do that numerous times, and I feel like Carlos is, yeah, he's had a lot of bad luck, made a lot of mistakes, but he is definitely the best driver to be Charles's teammate. So, and he's overcome a lot more adversity, not necessarily in their like his like personal life, but like just like in his racecraft than Charles, arguably. So, I don't know. He's if he wants to be a world champion, he'll have to bounce back. But back to what you said, it's gotta like cause at least internal problems. Like I'm sure he's not like I'm sure after every just got to be like gut wrenching.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost you for a second there. But yeah,
Oh,
it's
whoops.
got to be like it's just so heartbreaking. And yeah, I'm not saying that he's gonna like want to leave Ferrari by any means, but um, I think the Ferrari is historically notorious as, especially compared to other top teams like Mercedes and Red Bull, especially Red Bull. Red Bull's incredible with their strategies. I'll give them credit for that. Ferrari's notorious for being bad with their strategies, and there's really
Yeah.
no like reason for it. Like he was even reading like a Reddit thread, and like the best thing anyone can come up with is like, oh, they're Italians. It's like, well, that's not a reason. Like that's kind of racist.
Jesus.
Yeah,
A
like,
little bit.
but it's happened so many times over the years where they just horrible strategies, and like even like in the moment he's coming around at where it's in Monaco, where Leclerc, he doesn't have time to make a decision. They tell him at the very last second to pit, and then they say stay out, stay out, stay out. Like he's already in the pit lane. He even said himself, like I didn't have time to make a decision, and then he was
No.
instantly just so pissed off, and rightfully so. Like, uh, just gut wrenching.
Yeah, that was my question, because I know a lot of times in the live broadcasts, like a lot of times the voice radio messages that we hear are delayed. Like we're that's not real time necessarily. But in that instance, and let all the replays, it seems like they were like, okay, box, box, and like right after he's already inside, they're like, no, 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 stay out, and he's like, I can't. I can't. And I
Yeah,
remember watching it live. You see Carlos in the pit, and I in the background you just see Charles like slowly approaching, and it being I just remember being like, "What the fuck's going on?" And you can just see him like hitting his steering wheel. It's just like
yeah.
it's comical. I was like laughing a little bit, but at the same time I was just like, "You motherfuckers, you can't just let him have his win."
And
But
credit to Signs too, because they told him to box too, and he was like, "I don't think that's the right decision," and then he didn't.
nope, no,
So good
yeah,
for him. But like, you can't. It's not on the, especially in where on the track Charles was. He didn't have time to make that decision. Like he literally
hmm
was, yeah. So that's tough. But I guess that brings us to the overarching point of Monaco, um, with the lack of overtakes and just the like no one sets up their car going into the season for Monaco. Like
hmm
there was a thing they were talking about on the broadcast. Like Mercedes never really does that well at Monaco because they make the decision at the start of the year. We're going to set our car up to do the best on the most tracks that can.
yeah,
So they'll win. Like obviously it makes sense. Whereas if
hmm
you're going to set up for your track, if you're going to set up your car for Monaco going into the season just to win Monaco, like you're probably not going to do that well at other tracks. And just the nature of it. Um, it's obviously one of the most historical and like almost like the showpiece of F1. So do you think they should keep Monaco on the calendar because it's not on for next year at the moment?
gosh, it's tough because it feels almost wrong to be like I'm not I know I say new even though we're not new, but like we're newer F1 fans, so it feels kind of shitty for me to just be like, get rid of it. But it's like, bitch, I've only seen, 2 or 3 Monaco GPs live. So part of me wants it to stick around just so I can experience more of the iconic Monaco. But at the same time, it's a shitty race. It's a shitty race. And I feel like the only reason we had a big mix up, a big change up because of Ferrari fucking the strategy up and the rain. That was it. So I don't know. I wouldn't be like torn up if they got rid of it though, because I don't enjoy the racing at all.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like even like further to that, like yeah, we had the massive fuck up by Ferrari with the strategy, but there was still so many laps left, and like with DRS and whatnot, any other time, Sainz example in second, like the cars were literally head to tail for laps on laps on laps. So whoever's in first would inevitably get passed on any other track with DRS. So we would have had like an all-time battle between the four of those guys, but we got robbed of it because it's Monaco. Um, but I also say like it is a historic track. It's Leclerc's home track. It would. I hope they don't take it off. They need to at least let him win once, and then maybe get rid of it. Lewis Hamilton had an idea for what they should do to make it a little better. It's not anything drastic, but I'll just read his quote. Former world champion. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say I briefly lost you. So if you heard me go, that was when I couldn't hear you. So sorry.
Okay. Yeah,
continue.
Our connections aren't the best right now, but hopefully it's coming through. But yeah, Lewis's quote: former 7-time world champion, I said 7 that time, said, "I don't understand why the people who run the sport don't say, okay, this race, let's not keep it as a one stop. It should be a minimum of 2 or 3 or whatever, so everyone is forced, like they say, to have to use 2 types of tires." He added, "When you know you only have one stop coming up and you're hoping that you can jump one of the cars ahead, then you're relying on the team to be strategic." A couple of the races I've been in the lead and felt I had massive pressure from the car behind, and you're just dying for the race to finish, he joked. So that last quote's kind of irrelevant. But yeah, I don't know how much that would change. But his idea is basically making a mandatory 3-stop or something, for example. So you do have 2 or 3-stop, whatever. So you have automatic, like, it's not just going to be a per session, because regardless, there's going to be some sort of changes with the pit stops. It wouldn't make anything that different, I don't think, but he obviously knows what he's talking about more than, like, he understands that on a different level than me. To me, that doesn't seem like it would make that much of a difference, but like, he knows what he's talking about more than I do.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. He definitely is the expert, but I don't know. I think that's definitely an issue, but I also feel like the size of the cars is another big problem because that, I mean, did you see the graph that somebody posted? It was like the live, or you could see the gap of Fernando holding up literally everybody behind him.
Yeah.
It was like the front, what was Fernando in 7th? Something like
Yeah.
that.
Ahead of, yeah, because Lewis 8th. Yeah.
Yeah, so you saw the first 6 cars and then like a 48-second gap, and then Fernando and the rest of the cars, like so close.
Yeah.
That is just like, that's a problem. And Fernando, he is so funny. He was like, the interviewer was like, was it difficult holding off Lewis Hamilton the entire race? He was like, no, it was incredibly easy. He's like, I barely had to try. Which
Yeah.
I think that was, yeah, I think that was more a slight to Monaco than Lewis.
Yeah. There was that Photoshop version of that photo where they like extended the front end of Alonso's car, so it was like a barrier, basically, like going from wall to wall. Like, no one's passing this right here.
Nope.
Yeah, just one more thing on the Ferrari that didn't really get as much talk as I think it should have, based on what I've been reading, is the role that Williams played in screwing over Ferrari in this race. So especially Charles. So I'm just going to read this brief thing so I can get all the points in.
Cool.
So former F1 racer Jolyon Palmer. Oh man. Jolyon Palmer. Jeez.
You got it.
I got it. He's on like the broadcast quite a bit, but anyways, he believes Charles Leclerc missed out on victory at Monaco due to the actions of Alex Albon after the Williams driver failed to get out of the way of the Ferrari driver for an entire lap during the transition from wet to dry tires. Albon appeared to be completely ignoring the multiple, like dozens, like not one, not two, not three, dozens of blue flags as he circulated the Monte Carlo circuit before Charles got past as Albon locked up and slid straight into the first turn. It wasn't even that he let him pass, he just slid off the track. Adding to Ferrari's woes was the fact that Carlos Sainz was also held up by Latifi, shocker, albeit for a shorter length of time. Both delays turned out to be critical for the Ferrari pair as Sainz emerged behind Perez and Leclerc behind Verstappen. Speaking of the situation, Palmer said he felt the holdups warranted a closer look. Don't need to read that. So yeah, he gives the times. So Sainz had to sit behind the back marker for half a lap until Latifi yielded in the tunnel. This cost Sainz around 2 seconds of lap time compared to his teammate, who also exited the pits on the same tires at the same time. It's therefore feasible to say that if Sainz was half a second quicker out of the pits, he would have stayed ahead of Latifi and potentially won the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Alex Albon had held Charles Leclerc up on his intermediate stint in a prolonged manner, staying ahead for a full lap before making an error and finally releasing the Ferrari. In his opinion, he could have been investigated for that, as Albon clearly didn't want to drop off the pace. He says, I think Latifi got out of the way at a reasonable enough point, but basically the time gap that Albon held up Leclerc stopped him from getting out in front. And then Sainz had the same thing happen with Latifi. So they both kind of got screwed. Obviously Charles more, and they were pissed off about that, and they tried to complain, but didn't go anywhere. They really focused more on their Red Bull complaint. So yeah. So any thoughts on that? Because I haven't really seen that too much. I just saw that recently, and then also if you want to talk about the Ferrari protests on Red Bull as well.
Yeah. Just to touch on the Williams thing, I think it was fucking bullshit that they didn't get even a penalty, especially Albon. His excuse was that he said that if he had let him by, that it would have hurt his gap more, and that it would take more time off his lap because he was more than like 4 or 5 seconds behind him. But there was literally multiple times when he was 2 seconds behind him. So,
and if he was so much faster, then like increase the gap in the first place so that he's not right on your tip. Like, it was a stupid excuse.
It's complete bullshit, and it's especially bullshit because I don't remember if it was last year or when it was, but Sergio was given a penalty because he ignored blue flags in sector 1. Yeah. Latifi ignored it all the way to the tunnel, wasn't given anything. Albon does it for an entire lap. So, I mean, Christian Horner said it in Drive to Survive, we're chasing milliseconds. You know, like he's not bullshit. They're not bullshitting. So for them to just brush it off, it's just like I don't understand that. But I more don't understand why they weren't given penalties. It's not like it would have affected them anyway. They both didn't get shit, so maybe that's why they didn't even bother. But I don't know. I don't know. I hope that doesn't continue because that's complete bullshit. That could have. I don't know what it is about Williams. They love to have drastic effects on GPs that doesn't even include their own results. So, but anyways, Ferrari, yes, they protested Red Bull's win afterwards, and I read a little bit about it, but I still didn't completely like fully understand like the logic. Was it? I know it was because of Max's like exit, right? They claimed he went over the line.
Yeah. So they both. Sergio's wasn't egregious at all. Max, when they exit the pit lane, they have to stay on one side of the white line that divides the track, so that obviously they're not coming into the oncoming traffic. So Max's left tire went over the white line, but I guess which Ferrari is saying he crossed the white line. Red Bull argued, well, his tire wasn't 100% over the line. There was still part of his tire that was on the white line. Whereas Ferrari says, well, no, it's once you cross the start of the line, it's like it becomes a matter of semantics. And I guess there's not good enough wording in the rulebook to determine that. And in fact, the race director said that they had the rule that was written in the sheet for the race was, quote, copy and pasted from the 2021 race. So that's kind of embarrassing for the race director to be like, oh yeah, we sent these rules out, but those were the ones that were copy and pasted from last year's rules. Like, oh, come on, guys, you're also new this year, so like, but yeah, so that's not great. But I guess that was the issue, is that whether or not like starting to cross the line or crossing the entire line.
I think they ruled that the entire tire has to be over the line. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
yeah.
was
So
what
they
they
ruled in
ruled.
favor of Red Bull,
Yeah.
which like fair enough. I think like what I've also heard is it was more on one hand to kind of get the attention off how much they fucked up their strategy, Ferrari, but then also just kind of get clarification on it because going forwards, it's good to know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they were like best case scenario, Max and Charles switch positions. Like that was probably what I don't think they even like themselves even thought there was a possibility that Sergio was going to have his win taken away.
Yeah.
But
His was nothing. Yeah.
I mean, fair play. Red Bull
Right.
and Mercedes are, they're very familiar with
Yeah.
the war games. So
It did
fair
like
enough.
every race last year, pretty much. It was, I mean, I feel like Red Bull did it a little more, but either one of them, it was like, well, if their car's faster, they must be doing something wrong. Like,
Yeah.
so it was never just, oh, they were doing something good. But yeah, that was that. And then
Yep.
Mr. Checo, we haven't talked too much about him because, I mean, full credit to him. He raced great. A bit of luck involved, obviously, but
Slight.
amazing for him. I'm so happy that he got that win, and his pool jump was incredible. But he had some more good news after the race.
Say again.
Yeah. So Checo got some more good news after the race, or publicly,
Yes.
we found out after the race.
Yeah, there was a little moment that was picked up by the mics where Checo said to Christian, he was like, maybe I signed too early. So
Yeah.
pretty much everybody immediately was like, oh, okay, Checo signed another contract before he won. So I'm sure they could have gotten a little bit, he would have gotten his bonus or something. But yes, he is. There was a little bit of confusion because of the phrasing of the article that he signed through 2024. People were like, did he sign a 1 or 2 year deal? He signed a 2 year deal. So he will be racing the 2023 and 2024 season with Red Bull Racing. So,
Yeah, I thought it was through the end of this year and then through the end of next year. It's through one more
nope.
year after that.
Yep, it's another 2 years after this year. So yeah, we're gonna be. There was a funny comment that was like every Red Bull Junior driver is literally shitting themselves.
Yeah,
Which
well,
yeah.
I'll just real quick. When I was watching that 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, Perez was like, I don't know if he was a rookie, but really, really young. I guess he was like sick that day. Oh, 1 sec. I think he went out. He went out for some. Okay, yeah, but anyways, he was like sick that day, so they showed him in the paddock, and he wasn't racing. But it was just so funny to see a very, very young Sergio Perez. But
Yeah.
anyways, that was all I had to say on that. Go ahead if you had anything else.
Oh gosh. I'm hyped that Red Bull have found their second driver.
Yeah.
It's no secret that they've had struggles. I feel like Red Bull will have completely pulled it off if they just let them race. Because if Checo has a legitimate shot at the championship and Red Bull try to slight him or they prevent that, not cool. There's going to be problems. So even if Max takes off and completely takes huge control, that's fine too. I mean, as long as he has a shot, that's all I care about. But so hyped about that. Red Bull, I think, are lucky to have Checo as Max's teammate, honestly. So super happy to see that extension for another 2 years, but we'll see if they're gonna let him fight. I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, Horner had a quote that said like they're happy to have either one of them win the title, which like, okay, yeah, you can say that, like no shit, but it kind of worked out perfectly for them, especially the fact that it was 1-3, it wasn't even 1-2, and it's Monaco, so like there was never for them to have tried to pull some maneuver in Monaco to try and get Max ahead of Sergio, Carlos answered like it would have been an absolute
Never gonna
gong
happen.
show. Like that would have been basis for like a race ban or something. That would have been fucked up.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked out for them perfectly. I would love to see them race, but like, what's the gap right now between Max and Sergio in the standings? Points wise.
Only 15 points. Max is 125.
So
Checo is 110. He's only 6 behind Leclerc.
And then at last race, they did the all switcheroo. So if you take that, that's an extra 7 points. I guess 25 to 18, depending on the fastest lap. So like, if you take 7 points off Max, give 7 to, they're basically tied.
Yeah.
So like, that's kind of got to be tough for Checo. Like, if you just didn't screw me over last race, I'd be tied with Max right now.
Yeah.
But going forward, yeah, I think their eggs are kind of in Max's basket. Like, push comes to shove, Max is going to be the one. But it will be interesting to see if they're actually, like, if Perez is first, Max is second at Baku, a place where you can pass. If they give team orders, because if I were Checo and they gave Tim orders in that situation, I'd probably ignore them.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, fuck you guys.
You've already signed.
Also, he signed, yeah. And I guess that kind of also leads to the next thing is, I just saw a graphic of like the 2023 driver lineup. Yep. So guys that are already committed for next year. So I'll go through them quick. If you want to pull up the graphic too, so you can have it in front of you.
Yeah, I've got it.
We'll put it in the video. So the ones that are committed next year: Red Bull, Verstappen, Perez; Ferrari, Leclerc, Sainz; Mercedes, Hamilton, Russell; McLaren, Norris, Ricciardo, which remains to be seen. But Alfa Romeo has Bottas; Alpine has Ocon; Magnussen with Haas, but the rest are on. So there's one seat potentially open with Alfa Romeo. So Zhou Guanyu is in that seat now. Ocon, Alpine with Alonso. I think Alonso just said today he's coming back. So that one I think is filled.
Yeah.
Both the Alfa Romeo, no, not Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, sorry. Both the AlphaTauri seats are open. So Gasly and Tsunoda. Mick Schumacher's seat is open. Both the Williams seats are open, and both the Aston Martin seats are open. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 potential open seats. Obviously, most of them will get just re-signed, or I guess 8 take Ocon off that. Which one or two do you think are most likely
to be gone?
To be open, yeah.
Pierre Gasly for sure. I don't think there's any scenario where he sticks around for another season. I think Zhou Guanyu will stick around for at least another year. He got a point in his debut race. I think they'll at least keep him a second year because I know that money from China is definitely boosting them. Like, on the real.
True.
Lance Stroll, he's a given.
He's there.
Seb, well, that remains to be seen because I know he's kind of joked about retiring. Fernando, a sure thing. I think Mick is also a sure thing. The Schumacher name alone, I think, brings too much value.
Yeah.
Williams, Albon is a definite possibility because I know it was just a 1-year contract, but they could definitely do another year. Latifi, I think it's possible, but I hope he's gone.
Yeah, I hope Latifi's gone. I think you made a good point about Gasly. What did you think about this? Because Ricciardo has ties previously to Red Bull. Red Bull has ties to AlphaTauri. Ricciardo's not doing great in the McLaren, but he is under contract. What if Ricciardo and Gasly did a little swapski?
I don't know if Ricciardo would do that.
I don't know either because they said today it's up to him if he wants to return to McLaren, but I don't know. Like where else is Gasly going to go?
Yeah, I did read that the only way he can be basically kicked out of his contract is if he's just bought out. Yeah. So I don't know if McLaren even wants to do that. It is shocking, I'm not going to lie, to see his head up there. I would love to see Daniel one more season. I mean, I think it's likely. I think McLaren could do a little switcheroo, or they could just buy him out. So I think either way, good for him. But we'll see, I guess. But for sure, Stroll, and I think Yuki is also a pretty for sure bet in AlphaTauri.
To return?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's actually, honestly, I've been impressed with Yuki this year. And on Alfa Romeo, Zhou Guanyu, for a rookie, he's had some problems that weren't his fault. Overall, I think he's done pretty good, all things considered. I think they'll bring him back. So I think really it's just Latifi, his time's up, and then whether Gasly can find another team to switch to. But other than that, I don't think we'll see too many changes, especially like this is the first year of the new cars. So a guy like Ricciardo, you want to maybe give him a chance to, I know we say it every year, but give him a chance to get used to the car.
Yeah.
So did you see this? If you haven't seen it, we won't talk too much about it. But there was a video of, I guess it was before the race or sometime during Monaco race week. Max Verstappen did a prank call to Christian Horner.
No, you're gonna get fired to do these things. No, you're not serious, right? Quack quack. Quack quack quack. We are so childish. I need to call him back. He's not picking up anymore. Christian, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but we are doing with marketing, which of course
You can fire them all.
probably you employed them, but I had to do a duck noise and I had to call you as a challenge. That was it.
Tell him to fire them all.
So they're all fired, right?
Exactly. Tell them they're all fired.
Yeah, they're all fired. Okay, guys, you can go.
We're done.
All right.
I did not see this.
Okay, so we'll put the clip in. But briefly, it's basically Perez and Max are standing outside the Red Bull pool, and there's like little rubber duckies in the pool, and they're just kind of like shooting the shit. And then the Red Bull marketing team is like, "Oh, we're gonna do a prank call like for a video," and then Max is just kind of laughing like, "Oh, okay," and they're like, "You're gonna prank Christian Horner." And he's like, "No, like I can't do that." Like, yeah, do it. And so then they tell him he's got to do like just like ducky noises. So he calls Christian Horner and just like, "Hello," and he's just like, "Quack quack, quack quack," and then Christian hangs up. So then he calls him back. Max is like, "I gotta call him back. Like I don't want to lose my job." So Max calls Christian right back. Christian doesn't pick up. Calls him again, and he picks up and he's like, "I'm so sorry. Like I got pranked. How do I do it?" And Christian's just like, "Fire them all. Fire them all."
Oh, that's hilarious.
And Max was just so like, he was like a little kid doing it. So it actually, as I've been saying, I'm coming around to Max. So yeah, that was great. So check that out. We'll try and put the clip in the video. We already discussed. I wanted to talk about Haas and Mick, but we already discussed that. Like I briefly saw there was like Steiner. The title of the article was Steiner gives Schumacher a warning, but it didn't. There was no sort of warning in the actual quote. It was just like, yeah, he's wrecked the car twice on street circuits. That's not great. Yeah. Like, but yeah. Do we want to do our like best worst hard softs from Monaco?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, so I'll go first on best worst. Nothing crazy for me this week. Pretty straightforward. Best. After the race, my favorite Red Bull tradition is their Monaco. When they win Monaco, they do the pool dive. Probably my favorite F1 picture of all time is Danny Ricciardo's just like swan dropping into the pool. But Checo he had the Mexican flag around his shoulders. He did a tight little flip into the pool. I loved that. That was awesome. That was my best moment. And then my worst goes pretty obvious. The stay out moment from Charles, the pit, that whole fiasco. Yeah.
That's funny. I have the exact same picks as you.
Oh, look at us.
Yeah, that Checo photo. I think that's past my Daniel Ricciardo moment. Like, it is like the coldest. It is like him upside down just before he touches the water in the flip. It is one of the most like. It is the coolest picture. I love it so much.
So cool, so cool. Like I love that Rebel does that. They must pay so much extra to have that pool. But
oh, I'm sure. Jesus.
It's funny that I saw one thing that was like comparing each team's, I guess not paddock, but like their setup, like their luxury boxes or whatever they have all. And yeah, the Red Bull and Ferrari and Mercedes ones are just like 3 stories, like just gorgeous. And some of the other teams are just because it's Monaco, there's not that much room. Like
right.
But yeah, that was pretty funny. Let's do our hard and soft then. You can go first on this one because maybe we have the same for this too.
Oh God. Let's see. My hard is gonna go to Sergio, of course, getting the W. My soft is, gosh, it's tempting to pick the Ferrari paddock, but I'm gonna go with Williams. Fuck you, Williams, for holding up the Ferraris. Fuck you.
Good call, because I do have Ferrari costing Charles his home win as my worst, but like you can also attribute that to Williams.
Yep.
And yeah, for as much shit as Ferrari's getting for the strategy call, which they did still fuck up completely, Williams isn't getting enough flack for that. But my hard, is just Perez getting the win, but more than that, keeping it together. Like there were 3 cars on his tail, like literally inches away from his tail for countless, like 20, so many laps. And he, like, it's such a tight, difficult track, and he kept it together under obviously immense pressure. You saw how much it meant to him on the podium, and just in general, like that article I sent you, we were trying to find like what his favorite things were so we could figure out the punishment. And
Heck yeah.
even this was from like 2011, and even then, it's like if you could win one race, what would it be? And I thought he would say the Mexico GP, but no, he said Monaco. So
wow.
Yeah. So obviously it's great, and there's some great scenes that came out of that. And I also sent you that clip. I think it's like Max. It wasn't from this week, but it's Max and Checo in the paddock or something, and they're like, just shooting the shit, and they're talking about Perez's family, and Perez says like, oh yeah, like my family, they love Red Bull, they always buy Perez and Verstappen stuff, but to be honest, most of the stuff they buy is Lewis Hamilton, like so that kind of made me have a little soft spot for Perez.
I love Max's reaction. He was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have been last year too, when they he obviously hated Lewis. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, next we got one of our favorite tracks. Both of us, one of our favorite tracks.
Yes.
Baku. Then we got Canada. So great time in the calendar. We're going to have to do another weigh-in soon. We can do that next week.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Baku this week. I think the times this week I'll have to check, but the times I think are pretty bad for not normal. But I don't know. Those are kind of fun. So
pretty early, but that's okay.
I like those ones kind of. As long as it's once in a while, it's fun. But yeah, we got two. Once again, we got back-to-back race weekends. We're going to a real busy part of the schedule, which is great. It's gonna be a lot of work for us, but it's great.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to do, or we can get out of here?
Big shout out to Checo. He also became the most successful Mexican Formula One driver to ever drive. So major props to him. I'm not sure if you mentioned that.
I didn't know. That's amazing though.
I think he has the Monaco was like his 216th start, something like that, which is the most out of any Mexican driver. So huge props to him. I'm sure it meant so much. It's amazing to see. But yes, that is all. We had a little bit of a short episode this week, but we've got lots of stuff coming out. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials at HarderSoftF1 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and HarderSoftF1 Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. That's all. We'll catch you guys next week. Is there an off week for Azerbaijan?
There was an off week between Monaco and Baku, and then we're back on. So I guess technically this weekend is off, and then we're back next weekend. It's just that we're recording. Anyways.
Yeah. We'll be back next week with something. We'll come up with some cool stuff to talk about. But yes, 2 weeks from now, Baku we'll have a little bit of an earlier episode for you next week and the week after.
Trying to be back on Monday or Tuesday with a weigh-in and a Baku preview.
Absolutely. For sure. But thank you guys so much for watching or listening. Make sure to rate us 5 stars, and we'll see you next week.